Do you teach b-boy or breakdance classes? Then this video might be something for you. Because in this video, I will be showing you how I divide 1 hour of class on an intermediate level. Yo, what's up guys? This is Coach Sambo here, representing Team Shmeta and coach of the Battle Droids crew. I'm a little sick today, but still I'm here doing these videos for you guys just to help out because it was time for a second video. I don't know if you've seen the first one, but the first one was for beginners. And this video, we're heading out to intermediate level, so kids that have been breaking for longer than 1 year. All right, so let's just jump straight into this video. Don't mind the quality. All right, so here we have the second group I teach on my Wednesdays. And well, basically these are intermediate kids. That means that, you know, all of them have been breaking more than 1 year, and then some of them might have been breaking for 2 years, or maybe even 3 years. But usually what the standard is for this group, for my classes, is the windmill. You know, or most of the kids are almost up to their windmill, or they already just learned their windmill. Okay, we have one kid right here who's been breaking for a little longer. He just joined this class today for some reason. So, as you can see, so what happens now is basically I just let all the kids in and they're just warming up by themselves and, you know, warming up, right, basically, just getting into that. And as you notice, they're not playing around, they're not, you know, running around and stuff like that. They're really just training, which is really, really good news. And how you get to that is, you know, that is mostly explained in my first video that you can see called how to teach beginner b-boys or b-boy beginners. And I explain how I slowly implement the fact that they have to work by themselves. And that is the best thing you can, you know, ask for as a coach or a teacher, is that your kids just, you know, they do the work by themselves, and they do everything they've learned by themselves without someone telling them what to do or how to do it. And, you know, they're just basically becoming real b-boys, right? And not choreography dancers. All right, so also, so basically the class hasn't started yet. I always try and give them a little moment to freestyle, right? But, you know, these are kids that most of them have 1 hour class a week, and they're making the transition from being beginners into becoming like real b-boys. Don't mind the kid there in the front who's doing, you know, he has a higher level than most of these kids, right? So don't think that this is the standard level after 1 year, maybe 2 years of breaking. If you look at all the other kids, you know, they're definitely doing a good job, but it's not the same level as the b-boy Feta. That's his name right there. So don't mind that kid. He's just gonna be annoying us through this video. So, also what I wanted to add here is that you want to try and get this level of kids, you want to try and get them to battles for like once, twice a year. That's already a really good start. And, you know, choose a good battle. You know, if they would go to a battle or to a jam once or twice spread over a year, then you want to make sure they go to a good jam. So that means, you know, it's got to be packed, there's got to be a lot of people, got to be a lot of stuff to see, so they have a good experience and they have a lot of fun with that. And then it motivates them and it drives them even more to train and, of course, to do more battles. So this is when you want to slowly start to implement, you know, the fact that they have to go to battles. And if you want to do this, then you have to pass through the parents, because, you know, this is the game changer. When I started this Battle Droids you know, school, is I had a really, really good, clear communication with the parents. And I told them, listen, your kid is good. He's doing a great job. There's this battle. You know, just tell them how the situation, just tell them the truth. And, you know, they will probably understand. And if you do it in advance, because that's what you have to do when you're working with kids and parents, their families, you know, have to try and work in advance. So try and be like 2 months in advance and tell them, listen, this date, there's going to be a battle. If you walk up to them the week itself, you know, like, oh, there's a battle tomorrow, then of course they're not going to be able to make it. You got to plan these things out, all right? So yeah, moving on. So what I'm doing So this is, well, basically the class has started. I gave them 5 minutes, so that was the first part. It was like a freestyle part. And then what I'm doing now is, all right, I'm telling them the class is going to start. And what we do is we work on Toprock's Musicality and Footwork. And, you know, enjoy this while you're watching this, but I just have to say a few more things right now. So what I'm doing with the second year, the intermediate level, as we might call it, my goal as a coach from this point on is to focus on their bodies, their coordination, their control, their strength, flexibility. These are the things you actually want to prioritize when you start to train kids at this level. When you train beginners, your priority is to make sure they have fun, they enjoy the b-boying and the dancing. Once they survive that, now it's time to move on, and you want to start thinking long term about these guys' future, because if any of them would like to be the next BC1 champ, then if you're the coach, then you have this kind of responsibility that you have to open up these doors for them. You got to make it possible for them. So that's why starting from this year, the second year, third year, fourth year that they're breaking, it's kind of one of my secrets is I prioritize just body and control. And for them, it starts out with a windmill and of course a good handstand, spinning handstand, so they can start to learn air power and basically the windmill opens up a lot of possibilities when it comes to ground power, and the handstand opens up a lot of possibilities for spinning handstand. So in these classes, I would take most of my time and prioritize these kind of things. And of course, there's going to be some Toprocks, there's going to be some Footworks, but the main goal, the priority for me as the coach, is to get those bodies up to the next level. Because in the future, they want to get to a point where they have a body that can sustain anything that they might create. Let me just say that, how many times did if you're watching this video right now, probably a b-boy, how much ideas have you had, but your body just can't, perform that idea because you can only do an air chair on this side, or you're only good with your hops on this side or whatever. And there are a lot of combos and tricks and moves or anything. There's a lot of stuff that we can't do because the body isn't formed in that way. It isn't trained in the right way to do everything. So that's kind of like why I prioritize body control, especially if they're this young, because they learn so fast at this age as well. It's actually kind of stupid that you actually just train a kid up to his 18 and don't prioritize like difficulty, because the thing is, once that dude is going to hit 19, 20 years old of age and he wants to start learning air flares or hand hops or whatever, he might still learn it, but it's going to take so much longer than it would if you would just start training it at this age, right? That's no joke. And so that's why I prioritize it. And then, basically whoever keeps breaking after 5 years of this kind of training is going to be able to do whatever he wants, and he can develop however he wants because his options are so much wider than most b-boys if you don't focus on that body. So that's why this is really important. If you're watching this, by the way, respect for you watching this video, by the way, because I know it's for a very small audience that I'm making this, but it's a really important audience. You, the person that's watching right now, you are really, really important for the future of your kids that teach b-boying, in your house or in your school or whatever. So respect to that. So think about that, you know what I mean? And of course, style is important. Style is everything, you know what I mean? But the body has to be able to, push to the next level. So actually in this class, I'm talking about, all these handstand exercises and stuff that's prioritized, but actually in this class, I don't know why, but I gave like 40 minutes of stuff, and then I did like the last 20 minutes of, workouts and windmill and power move techniques. So basically this is an exception. Most of the classes I would do more handstands and more windmills and stuff like that. So what the hell am I doing right now? So So here I'm basically, well, we started the class, we were just doing Toprocks. I gave him some Toprock drills really quick, just talking about energy. You got to keep your first step and your last step as tight as possible. And I think now we're working on music. Oh yeah, great track right there for teaching class is Brooklyn is Burning. You can find that track, on YouTube or whatever. And we're talking about, accents like the bump, and it's really simple. But for them, they have been breaking 1 or 2 years. It's so simple that it becomes fun for them to like catch the beat. I'm actually teaching them a little bit how to catch the beat right here. And that track is a great track to use if you want to do these exercises with these kids. And I think I'm talking about burns because last week we did a few burns and they had to create a few burns and now I'm teaching them how to do the burns on the right moment on the track and use that accent we have in the music right there. And also I'm talking about the one, because even if there's no accent right there, and I'm gonna do another video about this, by the way, but the one, well, basically I'm just talking about musicality with these kids, giving them a little bit more information so they can feel the beat a little better and play a lot more with the music. And great transition, by the way, because they learned this really, really fast thanks to that song. And, you really have kids, giving headers on the right, they really start to implement it really fast in battle. It's a really cool thing to see. So yeah, that's all fun. It's all good. It's all b-boying, but prioritize thy body. Yes. All right, by the way, I'm not just sick right now. I was also sick in class right there. But I still went because consistency is key. People say, skill is the key. Feeling music is the key. But it's not. Like, the really most important thing is consistency. You are consistent as a coach, you will create consistent students. Not all of them, but the survivors will become consistent survivors. So you know what I mean? You're sick, or you might be running a little late, or you're tired, or you might have some pain from your last training or whatever. Go to your class, make sure you're on time and just be consistent, because trust me, you know what I mean? You got to skip your class 3 or 4 times in a year and you'll have 40% less results at the end of the year. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. Yes. So, still talking about Toprocks. We're almost 15 minutes into class. By the way, this is a 1-hour video, as I will be showing you guys this full class, intermediate class. And, don't expect any air flares or stuff like that. As I said earlier, they're learning their windmills, or they just know how to do their windmills. And I believe one of these kids did their first windmill in this class today. So you might see that later on, if you keep watching the video, of course. So what are these kids gonna do right now for us? Wish I'd listened better to myself in the videos. I knew where we were right now, but basically, all in all, it's just pure Toprock. Because I tell them all the time, because they a lot of the time the kids, they can't wait until they can finally start doing power moves in the class. But I always try and keep them focused at this moment by telling them, listen guys, you can have the sickest power moves in the world, but if you don't know how to dance and if you don't know how to footwork, you know what I mean? Like a lot of b-boys, not a lot, but there are a lot of b-boys in this kind of, with this kind of problem. Then I'm telling them, you won't win battles, you won't get any respect. You know what I mean? You gotta dance and you gotta bring the crazy power. So that's why we're giving him a lot of musicality tips. Yeah, and they're working on the burns, as you can see right there. And it's cool to see, right? They're all feeling the music. They're all catching the beat. If you can listen to the audio right there. And this is good. This is good. You know what I mean? Like if I would walk into your class and I would see this, I would be like, all right, this guy's doing a good job. And you know what you basically want to do, besides the 5 minutes of freestyle that they do in the beginning, besides that, you always have to stay in control of the group, like always. And what I mean by this is, besides the beginning, you know, the warm-up they have, the little 5 minutes of warm-up, you always have to give them exercises. Like, you try avoid ciphers, okay, in your class. Especially if you're teaching 1 hour of class, you do not want to do ciphers, especially not the ciphers where you want everybody to go, you know, one by one. Excuse me. Because that is wasting so much time. And okay, you might want to explain, you know, the concept and the idea of ciphers, but if you're doing weekly ciphers with your kids, 20 minutes or even 30 minutes, you know, it might have some value, but I strongly recommend you not to do it, because it's just, you know, a lot of people do it when they don't know what to teach. You know what I mean? All right, let's just do a cipher, and you know, it's easy money, right? But I strongly recommend you not to do any ciphers, and always give them exercises. And one of these exercises is something I'm doing right now. I did it at the end of the beginners video, and it's basically a one-on-one battle, you know, system. Because what they're doing is they're always two of them. Because, well, basically, if you give them any kind of exercise, let's just say Toprock exercise, this exercise right now, burns. And you say, all right, you're going to practice your burn, but you're going to practice your burn towards your adversary, the person you're standing against or with. So what's going to happen is, all right, if you put the music on and everybody's going to be practicing it, they're all practicing at the same time. Meanwhile, one is resting while the other is performing. And while the one is resting, he can also look at that person perform right in front of him. So it's just like a milkshake of productivity. And I really love this exercise because you can implement whatever you want. You can implement Toprocks, Footworks, just go downs, or, you know, like one move. And I'm going to be using this exercise a lot, because it keeps the kids busy and it teaches them how to battle at the same time. And then you won't have the problem of having kids that are afraid of battle, because that is a really common thing, is that some kids, they think of battles as, you know, the end of the world or something, you know what I mean? Like, but you slowly get them to get used to the idea that battle is just how b-boying is, you know what I mean? And that's the truth. B-boying is battle. You know, it's just you can't take that away from it. And by doing this, now look at that. Look how productive this is right now. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids at the same time working on their burns, learning how to dance towards an adversary. And I'm not doing it with music at the moment. I'm just counting the one, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and I try to get them to hit that one extra hard, because most of the time in breakbeats you do have some special kind of energy going on at that one, and that's something they have to capture and use. So as you can see, also what they are doing is they're communicating. You know, they learn how to respond to one another with hand gestures. They respond. They learn how to, you know, time their entrance and their exits, and most of all, they get comfortable while battling. And look at these guys. There's like that dude's all up in his face. The other guy, you know what I mean? Like, this is really good. This is really good. And then the day they go to their first battle, they're already in, you know, they're all crispy. They're all ready to battle. And I believe at that point it will be a lot of fun for them to battle kids they don't actually know. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, because well, I don't know. I don't see a lot of people use this technique while teaching. It's not an orthodox way. And just to be clear with you guys, I think the next 20 minutes are just going to be exercises like this. So everything they will perform will be in battle mode. And so there's no sitting around. There's no you know, everybody's battling, and then once your adversary is done dancing, then it's your turn. You know what I mean? It just doesn't stop. And that's the problem when you show them a move and everybody's spread out on the floor and you want them to exercise that one move. They will exercise it a few times, but then a lot of the times the energy just drops to zero. And then before you know it, they'll all be sitting down, almost falling asleep. And that's not the case right here. You see new adversaries. You know what I mean? I let them scooch up one spot. They got a new adversary. It's fresh. You know, they might know him well, or they might not know him that well as the person they just battled. And this is really good. Good energy. You know, it keeps them moving. And they're catching that beat, which is super awesome. Yeah, I just checked my phone really quick, just making sure I talk to you. I say everything I wanted to say in this video because, well, basically, I hope this will help you out. I did have some good responses and reactions on the first video about teaching beginners. And I had a few questions of guys asking me for intermediate. And so this is it. So I hope this will help as much as the first video did. And I hope you will build your army of kids and, you know, come to Belgium one day and then battle the battle droids or the psychos or, you know, all these kids crews that we have over here. That will be awesome. By the way, if you're a coach or a teacher, you know what I mean, and you have questions or you want some advice, just hit me up, man. Just send me anything, any question you have to my Instagram. All right, so right here, I'm changing the music. So I think they're still doing burns right now at this point. And what I would do when we're doing it to the music is I would walk around while they're all battling and I would count 6, 7, 8, 1. And I would, you know, count super loud on the 1 just to make sure that they feel it more and more and more. So they really get into that music. And it almost becomes automatic. All right, so here we have another track. You know, I don't know why I chose this track. It's the Christina Aguilera remix. I had it on my laptop for some reason. And basically what we have right now is we have double accent. We have bum bum, which is basically the same exercise, right? And now they have to use that accent, different track, different energy, and still perform their burn. So before I'm letting them do the battle, I'm giving them very, very clear instructions. See, so I'm doing my burn, but I'm using that music, just giving them a very clear, simple example. And then I tell them, just, you know, kill it. Do whatever you want. Do it however you want, whenever you want, and, you know, kill it. So let's just see what they got right here. And I tell them, eat the music, eat the music. I hate this song, man. I really hate this song. They kind of like it, so. Yeah, all right. So you see Ruben in the front right there, smacking his, you know, adversary all the way up, killing that beat. Da-da. So yeah, this is really awesome. You know what I mean? And it is a little longer than I would usually do, but you know, I just went with my gut. I just went with the feeling right there, and I felt they needed this, and they did need a little bit of footwork training too, because the footwork's still looking kind of sloppy these last few practices. But yeah, they're enjoying themselves. They're feeling that beat. You know, the little dude with the long hair right there. And what I love about this is these are basically all new students. You know what I mean? They're not battle droids. They're not even mini droids. They're not even, you know, the group under that. They're basically the freshman kids. You know what I mean? They're really, really fresh, coming up, and it's just awesome to see. You know what I mean? And I personally, like, the longer I teach, like the faster the kids actually evolve after they start. Like, these kids right now, after breaking 1 or 2 years, I'm gonna be really honest with you, they learn really, really fast. It's crazy. And I believe that every time you teach kids, they make an example for the next generation. So let's just say if you just started breaking classes and you see the group that's more advanced than you right after your class and you see them do windmills and stuff, you will automatically think that, you know, it's a normal thing. These windmills are normal. If you go to the second class, you raise the standards. But if you like don't have a generation of high level kids before that, the kids grow up with the standards of you. And, you know, and that's the problem. If you're the only guy doing windmills, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, he's their coach. Of course he's able to do it. But you want the idea that everyone is able to do it. You want to implement that idea and get those standards up there. So that's the hard thing when you start out. You got to start from scratch, from zero, and you got to make sure that all these kids think that windmills are normal after 1 or 2 years of breaking. It's really hard. So yeah, well, good luck to you. I will, you know, I will definitely make more videos on all of that, how to build your, you know, B-boy army from scratch. But let's just look at these kids right here. Oh, my throat is killing me, man. Jesus Christ. I might not even upload this. And I gotta go to class in an hour. Not this class, another class. Fun class. And after that I'm going training. So yeah. Squeezing this in for you guys. So what's the plan right here? Boom. DJ Cream, shout out to DJ Cream. Let's go. So it still burns? Jesus Christ, Sambo, what the hell were you thinking? Oh no, all right, okay, yes, okay. Next exercise, still in battle form, only 6 steps. Like literally only 6 steps, because it needs some cleaning up. Like, it's not that easy to teach a kid really, really good 6 steps. And you know, I've been doing a lot of classes, and basically this is just maintenance. Maintenance, and you want them to get a better form over time. So, so this is actually also a really productive exercise. You just tell them one move. You battle and you have that one move. So how do you actually gonna beat someone with using the same move? Right, you gotta get them thinking. Like, how are you gonna beat them? How are you gonna do that 6 step? And this is the battle right here. It's like, all right, who's got the better 6 step? Who's got a better flow? Who's got a better form? Who's got a better musicality? You know what I mean? Who's got, what I would say, who's got the best originality? Who's got the best ideas? But, you know, basically I told them to do just normal 6 steps. What I want to do is I want to get their form a lot better. I want to get them more comfortable into the 6 steps. And you know, stuff like, you know, looking at your adversary while doing your 6 step. And I walk around and I try and tell them, like, look forwards. Give these pointers. But of course, they're not freestyling. They have, you know, they have a mission right here. So I can walk around, I can take my time, and everybody knows what he has to do. And that's what I said earlier on, is there's no freestyle, there's not a moment where somebody does not know what to do. Or they're listening, or they're actually implementing or executing that I just gave them. And then I would do the same exercise for different basics. CCs, Zulu spins, you know, I would just tell them one move so they can really focus on that move and execute that move how you really have to execute it. Well, I'm getting better and better and better, especially the contact with the floor and all of that. And also what a good thing about this system is, okay, imagine, you know, I would, you know, do this exercise with you, and I would just start dropping bombs with my 6 steps, doing really, really good 6 steps. You are going to be automatically motivated to try and, you know, respond to the same kind of energy, because it is kind of a battle in a way, you know what I mean? And you don't want to be looked at as being less good than the person that's in front of you. So actually raising standards again. If you drop a killer 6 step, and I'm pushing you to do it too. This is really, you know, it's a miracle that the system actually exists. You know what I mean? It saves a lot of effort. So let me know in the comments if you're thinking of implementing this system. The one-on-one, we call it the gladiator system, because basically you're always training with someone to battle. And of course, they might think that this is a little bit boring. Only 6 steps? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of a coach am I? I'm like, yeah, only 6 step. I try to explain them too, because you don't want to give them just the exercises. Yeah, because this dude off the internet said you had to do only 6 steps. We're just going to do. I explain them why. I tell them, all right, this is the explanation I gave them. I told them, you know, if you're in a battle and you're battling some other kid and he can do windmills and he can do head spins and he can do all these power moves, but you look at his footwork and his footwork isn't, you know, it's not clean, there's no flow, there's no good form. I explained to him that you can actually win from that kid who can do the windmills, who can do the head spins. You can win just by showing him good footwork. Because judges will actually recognize that. And I tell them, listen, you can save your windmill, you can save your head spin, you can save all your power moves. Just use good footwork to beat kids that don't have good footwork. Then they start to understand. All right, yeah, it's important. They start to visualize. They start to see themselves in a battle just winning with footwork, which is awesome. Because kids always want the flips, they want the power moves, they want this, they want that. But when you're making them real B-boys, you have to make them understand this. And especially if you're going to focus on a lot of technique in the future, you cannot give them the idea that footwork, that technique, power moves, flips, that it has more power or more. It's worth more than footworks and style and Toprocks and stuff like that. Even though you are going to give them extra practice, or you're going to focus in their younger years, you're going to focus more on technique. It still has the same importance as the rest. It's not more important. You really have to make them understand this, because otherwise you will create just power heads, right? But you don't want power heads. You want vicious victors. You want isays. You know what I mean? You want the sickness. So yeah, never forget that. You know, power moves is not worth more than anything else, but you do have to be smart on when to implement what. So now, yeah, still 6 steps basically, or I think they're doing combos. No idea. Well, basically you get an idea of what they're actually training right now. And like be honest, if you've seen this video up to now, if you've been watching this up to now, like be honest, they've had a really good practice up to now, you know what I mean? This is a good productive class. They've been doing a lot of things, they've been listening to a lot of information. And what I don't do with this class is I don't sit them all down and talk a lot, because they already heard a lot. They know the difference between freezes and footworks and power moves and all that, so they don't need that lecture anymore. You're just going to get straight to work, and especially to get that body to the next level. Yes. So yeah, a lot of battles right here going on. Another day in Sambo's class right here. And obviously, you know, you give them an exercise, and then when you feel like it, you just go out, 3, 2, 1, it's over. Like they do in stand-up battles. Time's up. So yeah, footwork routines, footwork exercises right here. Of course, there are many different ways of teaching and upgrading moves, and you know, it wouldn't be a dumb idea to also, you know, get everybody together and talk about you know, details in the 6 steps and stuff like that. But I do that. But in this class I did, you know, have a lot of classes spread out. And here I think I've given them the last footworks exercise, which is a pretty fun one too. I tell them, all right, we're going to do 3 rounds each. 3 rounds. First round, you're just going to use your right hand. Second round, you're just going to use your left hand. And then third round, you're just going to use no hands at all. Okay? And at this point, because these kids have some footwork, let's say 10 to 15, maybe even 20 different kind of footworks, but you know what I mean? You probably use like 4 or 5 most of the time. And what I'm doing now is these exercises will lead to a lot of fails and a lot of crashes, but I'm pushing them outside of their comfort zone. So first we did 6 steps and things they actually already know, and we're just exercising that. But now I'm giving them a little exercise just to push them out of their comfort zone, you know, like get them to crash a little bit. But by crashing and by exploring new positions and directions, you're actually already creating a foundation for them to find their own direction and create their own moves, their own ideas. And even it might, you know, even if something they do right now might lead up to something in 5 years, you never know. But you just want to try and get them out of their comfort zone, play a lot. You see one kid just tripped right there, all good. The other kid, he's just, you know, he's not even taking it seriously. But new stuff, you know what I mean? There is good stuff as well. There's a lot of good kids right here. They're doing some good stuff. Out of the comfort zone, of course. And then meanwhile, most of the time I just walk around and I just, you know, give positive feedback. Even if you would see a lot of kids crash, especially with an exercise like this, you gotta be, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's all good. And this is, you have to remember this as a coach, especially year 1, year 2, year 3. It's all good. It's all good. What I mean by that is, you know, even if they make mistakes, even if you have to explain that kid 10 classes how to do a baby freeze, it's all good. Okay, don't get stressed out. Don't get frustrated, because the more frustrated you will be as a coach, the more your class will suck. You gotta have fun. You gotta be like, it's all good, and they will have more fun while doing it. And they're kids, man. You gotta have patience. You know, they're not the people they're gonna be in 10 years, so you have to have patience and just, you know, give them the time they need. And especially if they're really, really small, you don't wanna, as I said in the beginners video, which is, you know, a really important lesson right there, is in your class, you always wanna stay in control of the whole group. You almost never wanna focus just on one person. Because first of all, that person, especially if he's really, really young, he's gonna feel, you know, he's gonna feel looked at. Okay, you're gonna go to that one specific person, everybody's watching them, and you're basically telling in front of the whole class that he's doing a mistake. You know, that puts a lot of pressure, and when kids are pressurized mentally, you know, they don't even know the difference between their left and their right leg anymore. So, you know what I mean? You gotta just, sometimes you just gotta let it go. Also, once they realize themselves that they've been doing the move wrong, the move in the wrong way, then they'll never forget it ever again. Especially if they're small and they keep breaking. So don't be a perfectionist. Don't, you know, just be cool with it. Man. It's b-boying, bro. Chill. So yeah, the thing finishing up, as you can see here, we see a lot of no-handed footwork tries right there. Yeah. And always in control of the group. Everybody always know what's to do. And right here, I'm giving them a little break. They've been doing a really, really good job. And I'm like, all right, guys, 1 minute and 25 seconds of break. And you'll be like, what? I'm like, yeah. But obviously, it's a little longer than that. I just tell them that, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I forgot. I would do a pretty cool, pretty long elbow slide right here in the class. So obviously, if you have these kids training for half an hour straight, you want to give them a little break, give them water. And this is, we try and tell the kids not to bring, you know, plastic bottles and stuff like that. You know, nothing to do with b-boying, by the way, but, you know, we try and get them to bring their own, like, drink cans, because, you know, we try and lay low on the plastic. Yeah, look at that elbow slide right there. Ah, yeah. And the elbow freeze. And let me remind you, I am and I was sick. And we have Feta trying to counter Coach Sambo right there. Yeah, it's a really cool class to teach, by the way. Really motivated kids. So as you can see, what we've done right now, so they had a little freestyle. They had a lot of Toprock exercises, some drills. Then they had a lot of exercises on how to catch the beat with burns and in battle mode. And as you can see right here, we are starting to move towards the power moves. And as I said, these kids, well, they're all, you know, in the windmill, you know, zone. Still learning their windmill and almost there, or they already learned their windmill. And so now we can have the power move session that's gonna start right after this. And then From the Toprocks and Footworks, we went to the floor. We did all the, a lot of Footworks exercises, and especially maintenance. And I would give maintenance exercises, or, I would give new Footworks, or even I would actually give them exercises on how to create their own Footworks. But what's dangerous with that is, they have to learn how to write their stuff down. And they actually need a Bboy book or something. And I did implement that for a long time, and most guys are used to it. But for these new fresh kids, I bet no one has a Bboy book, or they might have one somewhere at home under their bed or something, but I don't think they take it to class with them and that's what I hate. When I give them exercises to create their own footwork, they would create a lot of cool ideas, but these ideas would disappear into thin air because they wouldn't write them down, and they wouldn't, they don't maintain their moves, and then they might find 10 new moves and they just forget everything, and that's a bummer. So yeah, I do give these kind of exercises, but talking about it just makes me think of that and kind of irritates me. So it's time to implement new methods and grow and keep on moving on. So, all right, we only have 20 minutes of class left. And so what we're doing now is we're going to the power move. This would have started earlier if I wasn't in my Toprock vibe. I don't know why. So now we're going to be talking about very specific details, and I, create a cipher, calm them down, make sure everybody's listening. Do not talk if some of the kids are still making noise. Because you want their attention, of course. So the first exercise they're going to have right here is they're going to be doing or handstands or spinning handstands. Or for the kids that already know how to do a good spinning handstand, they can practice their 90s, their invert 90s, and their 2000s. And so yeah, I'm giving them all three examples very clearly. And I'm telling them, choose your level. If you want to still work on your handstand, then you just work on your handstand, and these are a few tips. Meanwhile, they keep listening. If you have a good handstand, then you want to start, doing the spinning handstand and walking around in handstand, and you want to watch your legs. And right here, I explain them the power kick, but I shouldn't have done it this way because some of them are learning the power kick for the very first time. And I shouldn't have done it this way. I should have actually split them in two groups, depending on which hand they do their baby freeze and their windmill on. And I should have, almost like a choreographer stood right in front of them while everybody would use the same hand and the same leg at the same time for that group. And then I would go to the kids who freeze on their other hand, and because it's really important that they know in what direction they do their power kick. I try to explain it right here, but it wasn't the smartest way. And now that I look at it again, this is not usually how I would teach them the power kick or spinning handstand. But this is a good way to teach them power moves. You really give them detailed explanations up close, right in front of them, clear instructions, and then you put them all to work. And I think for this exercise, they're not going to do it in a one-on-one. I tell them just do it by yourself. And then, then we have a limited amount of time to practice that move. And then I would call them all back right in the cipher, give them new explanations, and then sprint them back out again. So this is no longer the gladiator system. However, of course you can implement the gladiator system for this. And it's actually not a bad idea, you know what I mean? All right, just gonna do handstands or 90s in a gladiator system one-on-one, and it's a pretty good idea. And I do that a lot, but for this I didn't. This is also a really good idea, is you pick that kid out that has a good form and does a good example, and you let him show the class how to do it. And I think we're talking about a spinning handstand right here because this kid, Bboy Wolf, has a really good looking spinning handstand, and if he keeps breaking, I'm sure he will have beautiful air flares. But this is the really smart idea because all the other kids are watching him, and they remember him not being able to do it, and now he's able to do it, and it's kind of motivation, right? Of course, the coach can do it, but one of the kids can actually do it really nice. And so you want to use example, you want to talk about it, give details, and then you ask somebody, hey, show us. And here we're talking about invert 90s, giving them a quick lecture on 90s, 16s, invert 90s, 2000s, and all of that. And here we have Feta. I think he has to do a 90. And I tell them, look at the legs. Try and keep the legs nice and open. By the way, that's something I'm going to teach in my advanced 90 tutorial is, the legs. So you see a lot of detailed explanation just for a handstand. It starts with handstand, then spinning handstand, then we have 90s, invert 90s, 2000s. Showing everything, explaining everything up close in a cipher before I put them to work. So they really know what they're doing. What is he going to do? He's going to do a 2000 embed. Yes. And look how I take my time. I tell them like 1, 2, 3. So summarizing everything right here, telling them, okay, handstand or spinning handstand or 90s and 2000s and stuff like that. Once more, I should have, taken more time or caution to teach that power kick, because, it's complicated for kids and they end up doing, cartwheels and stuff like that. So that is, something I have learned from this video already myself. And now I put them to work. Well, I think actually what I did say is, all right, it's not a battle mode, but just, choose a partner and just choose a spot somewhere. And these kids are like, can we train by ourselves and then we can train more? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So yeah, everybody's working really hard. As you can see, handstands all over the place. Work, my minions, work. And because now I have given a clear exercise and everybody knows what they have to do, then I can just walk around, because you don't have to get worried about kids playing or whatever. Everybody had very, very uber clear instructions right there. And now they know what they have to work on. The handstand. And obviously, so if your kids are not at this level of doing handstands yet, frog stands. Check out my handstand tutorial. It's the first one I uploaded from the new series. So the editing is a bit, old school. Although it's not even 2 months old. But the exercises in the handstand tutorial by Coach Sambo is basically the exercises I gave them to get that handstand. Well, basically they're not afraid of standing on their hands anymore. Now they're working on balance and on walking around and stuff like that. But that tutorial is full of exercises to get these kids on their hands. So if you would have questions for that. Shout out to DJ Jabel in the background. So yeah, just checking up on all the info right here. If you're still watching this video up to now, I salute and greet you, fellow B-boy or dance coach. I hope you're not sick like me at home. So yeah, great exercise, and this is what they need the most. If you want to get these kids to learn air flares by, 2021, they got to be standing on those hands a lot. And some of them already looking at forms, and some of them are still learning to walk. Just give them time. Oh, he almost killed himself in the front. I didn't see that. So yeah, spinning handstands, of course. And the kids that are learning their handstand still, they know what the goal is because you already showed the other options. So that's also a really good motivation. If they're still learning their handstand, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, Oh, once I can do my handstand, I can learn the spinning handstand. And once I can do that, I can learn the 90s and the 2000s. They already have goals. And that's why I think everybody's, motivated. You're not just telling them, all right, okay, just train your handstand. You showed them the evolution of what's possible. And if they become, if they break a little longer, they're going to figure out that air flares is next, and elbow air flares, and then one-handed air flares, and all these things that grow out of your handstand. And that's why it's important for them to learn that as young as possible. So that's why, I will be honest, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have the freshest style kids out there because, well, basically I focus a lot on the body. And, those, in the classes that develop a certain style and will be known for other things than power moves, you want them to be able to fly, you know what I mean? Because that's where we're going at, 2020, 2024 Olympics and all of that. You want kids, or basically you want B-boys and B-girls that, have the sickest style, but also can do anything in power, so they can actually counter anything or anyone, and you're going to create these monsters. So that's why a lot of handstands, muchos handstands. So yeah, telling them last handstand. So you see, I spot a few cartwheels. I knew it. I knew that would happen. That's what happens if you don't take the proper action, teach them a power kick. It becomes cartwheels. So now I think it's windmills. 10 minutes left. And of course, because we're doing a new exercise right now, everybody together, get that information, all, brief them on what is going to be happening next. And this is important. One of the kids just asked a question right now, the guy in the dark blue. His question was, when he does his power kick, he doesn't really feel or know in what direction he has to do his spinning handstand. So here I'm telling him that, the circle you make with your leg is already in the direction of your spinning handstand. But that's not important. The important thing right here is that he asked a question, and I didn't answer to him personally. What I did was I told everyone, hey guys, listen up. We had a really good question right here. And then I would explain it to everyone, because some of the kids might have the same question, but they just didn't ask it. When this way, you're just covering it for everyone. So here again, I'm just taking one of these kids and using him as an example, showing the other kids that it's possible. It's not just Coach Sambo that's born with these superpowers or whatever. They see that anybody can learn it with the proper effort. So actually here, the same technique as you would see in my windmill tutorial. And I'm asking him to show the 3 steps separately. And this kid just learned his windmill like 3 weeks ago. And that's why I chose him, because he just recently made that transition from not being able to do a windmill into doing a windmill. As you can see right here, yeah, see? He's got that windmill, he's got it. Other kids are like, oh my God, he can do it. He can do it. And here I tell them, all right, let's go, work on those windmills. So I show them, again, in detail, the 3 steps. They know these 3 steps, all of them. But, they need some refreshing. Some of them might not practice at home or whatever, so you just refresh everything and you just make sure that they know the 3 steps. And then, boom, you want to get them motivated and you want to get them straight to work. And if you take a good look around, you see all these kids training their windmills, and that's really, really awesome. And I see one dude doing a spinning handstand in the back. What the hell is he doing, man? So yeah, they're almost there. what the fun part is that if all of these kids right here in the intermediate group know how to do a windmill, then you have basically you're one step closer to creating an army, because you have basically a lot of kids doing windmills. It's just pretty hard already to get that far. So if you do have a b-boy crew or kids crew or a dance school and the whole bunch knows how to do windmills and stuff, I congratulate you, man. Then you are on a really, really, really good path, and respect to that. And if you would, you have a dance school or whatever, and just let me know in the comments or send me a message on my Instagram. Tell me what, have you learned something from this video? Is there something, that you didn't know or didn't implement? I would love to know that, because, well, basically these are the first videos I'm making on how to coach and how to help coaches and stuff like that. And any feedback would be more than welcome. So yeah, I think, that's it. 4 minutes left to class. Let me just advance right here. Some windmills. Oh, I told you about the kid. Look, the kid in the blue on the left. Well, he did his first windmill this class. Go. Yeah, there it is. See, ladies and gentlemen, that is his first windmill ever. First time he got to pass 3 or 4 windmills. I didn't even see it. But then he told me after that, and then he showed me it again. So yeah, that's really cool. And you see, bit by bit, if you gotta be really consistent with your windmills and your spinning handstands. That means every class you have to do windmills and spinning handstand. If you skip, for some reason you don't do windmills, it's not gonna work out. You have to be really consistent, and every week, again and again and again, you have to give these windmill exercises. And especially if you're gonna start out with teaching windmills with your kids, that's when you gotta have the most patience, because you have to implement 3 steps. And check out check out the techniques I use in my windmill tutorial, because this is how I teach kids the windmill, and it works really fast. And of course, you didn't get to see it here in detail, but you'll get the idea when you see the video. And I strongly advise you to just learn from my mistakes. You know what I mean? I've been teaching a lot. I've been teaching long time, and I have tried many different ways of teaching many different things, and whatever you see in my tutorials is usually the thing that works the most. So definitely use anything you could use out there. And well, that's it. This is the end of the class. These kids are grouping up all together, and I tell them, practice at home. You know what I mean? I give them just this last briefing, and then I'll send them off on their way back home, and I'll see them the next week. All right, so so this was my class, guys. So this was the video on how to teach intermediate b-boy kids. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to check out the first video called How to Teach b-boy Beginners if you thought this was productive. If you have any questions, just hit me up on Instagram or just leave a comment right here, and I will answer unless I'm terminally ill from this disease I have right now. Take care, keep it real, and peace.